Hi everyone, welcome to the Crossroads and Conjure class. Today I'm setting up a tabletop mesa. I normally would have my own blanket lying out, but I have a new puppy dog in my house and he loves to come and just run straight through it, so we don't want to do that. So I'm going to do a quick version of one that's higher up, and you can emulate this in your home if you want to. So pretend that that's your blanket, the one that I asked you to find. You'd lay it out on the floor. Or you can have a beautiful cloth like this one and just put it out. Now, you're going to have a shorter piece of material that represents the pole or the wand or the tree of life that flows from the heavens into the top of your head and down through the bottom of your feet. Usually this runs north to south. And then you're going to have the river of life, which runs from east to west. And it's going to go across like this. And now you have established a crossroads to work from. You should have found your crossroads and gotten some dirt. And when you do that, this is the way I have always worked it. This comes from a tradition and training that I have. It's emblematic of a Native American symbol for all the races of the people, the medicine wheel, that type of thing. And so mine's made out of porcupine quills and leather, and I made it myself during some training that I went through with some elders. Okay, so in this concoction, I'll show you here, it's mixed with cornmeal, which is something you're going to find very common in crossroads work, is cornmeal mixed with the dirt from the crossroads that I work at. And if you remember in that lecture that I gave you about my 9 nights, I had shooting stars that came up in my work. Well, these are all little pieces of shooting stars. They're meteorites that have fallen. So I have that there. And then I have a beeswax candle. I use a lot of rune work in my work, so I put that on there. And it's a mantra that I use a lot, Lafu Lalu, to help build energy. Now, when I first got my mesa, the first plant that was gifted to me was an aloe vera. And so whichever plant is gifted to you first whenever you start this work is the one that you start with. And it is your base herb or plant for the rest of your work. So then I have little herbs in each of these, yerba mate, yerba sante, that I received, and I just place them next to it. Rue and roses. Lucky hand root, and I have a market on them, and calamus root are all part of the herbs that I work with. Tobacco, frankincense, and yes, I consider it an herb. It comes from a tree. A big old chunk of myrrh, angelica root. I have an empty one here for spikenard. I'm out right now. And self-heal. Those 13 herbs in the plant there represent the majority of the herbs that I work with in my practice, in my crossroads practice. I grow lots of different herbs. I use lots of different things in my hoodoo and conjure work practice. But you'll find, and if you end up going into Soul College, you'll find that there are 13 herbs that resonate with you in the work that you do. So there's that. In this section, this is kind of that eastern section, it's a cross-quarter section, I typically put my purification things. So I have a little bit of white sage. You can also use Palo Santo, which is a stick of wood that comes from Palo Santo tree, and It's very pungent, and if you are asthmatic, I don't recommend it because it's a little too much. So it can really cause you some problems. So I do a lot of egg work, and yes, this is a crystal egg, and salt for cleansing. You'll notice there's kind of a cleansing thing in each section. So I do a water ritual every day to help cleanse myself. I use this for, this was the shell that was used during my baptism, and so I use it when I anoint people's feet. This is my ancestors' cloth, and I do keep my ancestors on this particular altar. So this is my great-grandma Bullard. She was a healer and a midwife, and so I keep her there, and I keep a little marker down that's something that you would find at a cemetery, and it's loaded with the dirt from her grave, and I leave petitions for her there. This is my runes, and I place them up here. I do divine almost daily, kind of working with what it is that I might have questions about or something I want to know about. So good old Florida water. I was taught that Florida water helps to bring the good spirits to you and to help clean and purify a space. I do agree, and I use it every day. I have it in a spritzer bottle, and I usually spray it around. So I'm getting ready to do a 33-day consecration to Immaculate Heart Mary, so I'm going to leave the candle on to bless it. As also part of my divination practice, it's a constant reminder that I do speak with angels, and I try to emulate that practice as much as I can. Have a sacred stone that means a lot to me, labradorite. I have a rattle that I use in my healing practice. I do hand analysis work on people, and so sometimes I have people who come to me and they have really intense problems with their hands. There's something going on that's afflicted, and so I leave a copy of the picture of their hands underneath my Milagros hand, and sometimes I'll put petitions inside the little tiny hand that's right there. My anointing oil for purification and consecration. Sometimes I need to clear the space, so I have my little finger symbols that I like to use. A little sacramental, so it's a reminder that who I'm working with. Okay, so this part should be kind of interesting to you. So in part of my shamanic practice, I was given a feather. This happens to be from a red-tailed hawk, and the hawk was not killed. It was one that actually fell from the sky the day that I was going through my initiatory work. So it was given to me as a gift. I typically use it whenever I smudge people and clear them. So it goes on my altar. It kind of doesn't really matter where it goes for me. I also had a wand given to me, and I use it to cast circle. And it actually, the tree that it came from gives off a whole lot of friendship. So typically my circles are friendly. So I have a stone, and I don't think you'll be able to see it, but right here I found it. It came out of the lake that we live in. It's kind of a heart-shaped stone, but it has a 5-pointed star in it, and those are significant to me. And then a holy stone, which happens to represent some of my Welsh background. I use a lot of knot magic where I run thread through the stone and tie knots in the thread as I'm working. So this is something similar to what I would set up on the floor. Maybe one of these days I'll take a picture for you all, but as you're working your crossroads, you'll want to establish a tabletop or floor mesa that shows a crossroads. Always have something in the center. Try to use as many natural materials as possible. Beeswax candle, cornmeal, terracotta, the stones, and glass. Try to leave plastic and things like that off of your altar. You don't want that. Metal's fine. Things like that are fine. So you'll want a divination tool. You'll want some things that you cleanse with. And as we go along, I will teach you about the different things that are on here. And you'll have your own herbs that are specific to you. My herbs are mine, and you'll have your own. which is kind of nice because then they each mean something very different to me, and yours will mean something very different to you. So I hope this helps give you kind of an idea or concept of what a mesa looks like. I'll move this around so hopefully you can see it from my perspective. My very interesting room. So that's what it looks like from my perspective. So anyway, until next time, bye for now.